Hi, my name is Dalton Schneitter, and I've been with Price Brothers for 1 year now. I am a leasing consultant, and I've been at both Creekside Apartments and Stone Post Crossing Apartments. So before I had my start date, I started by learning the property. I would make myself flashcards and I would start learning the floor plans. I'd learn their name, I would learn their square footage, if it was a one, two, or three bedroom, and I would study those, and they were a lifesaver for me. When I first started, I went to the models and started to get to know those like the back of my hand, just to make sure when I would take our prospects in them, I would know what I was saying, really. I would partner with my assistant manager, because I was the only leasing agent there. I would partner with my assistant manager, and starting with Creekside only had 16 buildings, so it was a little easier to get to know the property. I would always, we had a map in the leasing office, so I would make sure to study those, and it was really nice and detailed because it showed like the floor plans in color, if it was a one bedroom or two bedroom, where I was located in the building. And then for Crossing, when I got promoted there, we went from 16 buildings at Creekside to 40 buildings at Crossing. So that was a bit of a challenge for me, but I definitely did the same thing, started learning the floor plans there and kind of getting an idea of like the floor plans and where they were located in the building. It was even learning to see where the patios faced of the floor plans, just so I could give a good description once we had people touring. And then at Crossing, I definitely used my other leasing consultants who have been there longer than I had, and we had a map in the leasing office as well there, and it was just getting to know the property. At Crossing, we had a lot more amenities than Creekside had. We had like a dog park and a car wash, so it was getting to know those central locations and then basing it off of those. To start off, follow-ups have been my best friend. So it was following up right after the client has toured with me. It was either sending them a BBAT card or sending them a newsletter, getting them like into what we're doing at Creekside and Crossing. It was just following up with them and making sure that my name stayed in their mouth, saying that, oh, I remember Dalton from Creekside or Crossing, and he keeps following up with me, and I just know that just keeping in the prospect's mind has been really helpful for me. So for follow-ups, I found it easiest if I sent an email in the morning. It was because I know personally when I first wake up, one of the first things I do is check my emails. So when people are when they're waking up in the morning, checking their emails, I want to be one of the first things that they see when they are waking up. And then for follow-ups, when I decide that a phone call would be the best, I would call them more in the afternoon at lunchtime, because I know that's when my workload's a little bit lighter, just so I know that they will most likely be able to answer their phone because they're at lunch or they're doing something else, possibly working from home due to COVID as well, taking a little break. So I would call them and make sure that they were, obviously I don't want to call them once they're waking up as well. I wouldn't want to be woken up from a phone call from an apartment complex in the morning. So I felt that phone calls in the afternoon were the best, and I got the most feedback from those. And then the last thing that definitely helped me out was making a to-do list. So I would start this the day before, or possibly right when I would get to the leasing office in the morning. I would make sure that I had a list of my to-do list, or I made a to-do list with all of my objectives for the day. I would make sure that I would start off with my hardest things. This would be like following up, of course, in the morning, putting my files together, just making sure I'm putting my workload from the hardest things to the easiest things, so I'm ending off the day and not having to stay super late. During COVID, it was a huge shift of people coming in to tour versus people wanting to do virtual tours, which was new for me. I ended up being the one who I got filmed at Creekside and I made the virtual tours for them. So it was taking advantage of that. It was leasing over the phone and over the email. And it was honestly using those virtual tours to help you. It was answering every single question. We took a lot of time making those, and I couldn't be happier enough with them, how they worked out, because it was showing the apartment without actually having to be there, but obviously still being there to answer questions if the prospect needed. We would use the iPads, but I had a lot of luck at Creekside with the virtual tours. I offered them. I still did offer the FaceTime tours and taking video tours. I did end up making a video tour once because we don't have a 3-bedroom model at Creekside. So I definitely used making a video for the prospect. Not based on, I thought that was a good idea, but I had no one who wanted to do it. I offered it all the time, but personally I didn't have anyone, but the virtual tours did work out very well for us at both properties, really. So really, when I'm with prospects, I treat them like I've known them forever. I kind of take more of a friendly approach to them. I figure out what they need for their apartment, why they're moving, what's bringing them to the area. Coming from out of state myself, I would really bond with those people who are coming from out of state as well. It was just a connection right off the bat. We could talk about things. I would ask them if they have any suggestions on, or if they would ask me if I had any suggestions on places to eat, things to do, and that would just help me tell how prime our Creekside and our Stonepost Crossing locations were. So it was really just getting to know them a little bit more on a personal level, and then making them comfortable, keeping my name in their mouth just because they know how great of a tour and experience they had at a Price Brothers community. So I think that really did help me a lot. It's just when you're on that tour, getting to asking the right questions was the really big thing, because they have a reason to move. They need to tell you something. They're gonna have questions. You're gonna need to ask how many occupants they have. You need to ask if they have any pets. So right there, if they have a pet, I have pets, we can bond right there. It's just asking those right questions to make sure that get them to open up to you. What's changed during tours is really leasing over the phone. It's getting enough idea of when they need to move and why they need to move. Like I said earlier, like they have a reason that they're moving. It's possibly either great, they got a job promotion, something great happened, or it's something not as great. So it's kind of getting on an emotional level with them, making sure that you're finding the perfect home for them. And I mean, especially during COVID, you're doing all of this over phone or email, and you're just trying to give them an idea. We had at Crossing, I had a prospect who's moving from New Jersey, and they were unable to see the unit before they moved. And it was painting a picture in their head, it was sending pictures, it was sending videos, sending virtual tours, anything to make it feel like they've already seen it without seeing it. It was giving them exact measurements if they needed. It was going to see the vacant unit once it was ready and sending them pictures. It was doing all of that and making sure that they were comfortable before they even moved in. Felt like they already lived there. During tours, it's definitely letting the prospect do all the talking, because once you get them talking, they're kind of not going to want to stop. It was once again like asking those right questions to where they're doing all the talking, you're doing all the listening, and they're gonna start opening up to you. They're gonna start feeling more of a connection, and that's really how you start pulling in the sales. It's just making sure that they're comfortable, I'm comfortable, everyone's happy. It's just making sure everyone is comfortable at their work too, because you wanna come into the leasing office, even if it's not my tour, I'm still gonna be asking them what they thought, if they had any questions for me too. It was getting them water while they're talking to the other leasing agent. It's doing all of that. That was the least I can do on my part. For reviews, my biggest thing is I get them right when they move in. It is, after my 48-hour follow-up, I'm asking them how everything is and making sure that they're happy, asking if they have any work orders. It's making sure that they're 100% happy, because you don't want to be on edge with someone. They had like not the best move-in or anything, and you're like, want to leave me a review? Yeah, it's just, you get to know these people so well after touring, doing their file, getting all of this information from them, and then knowing they had such a superb move-in. It's just going in and saying, hey, like, show off how happy you are to live here, because people who are looking to live here are, one of the first things they do is go and look at reviews. So the best thing you can do, like, not only, or really for us, like, if you are happy, like, let it know, like, let everyone see that this is a great place to live at both Creekside and Crossing. I just ask them, and really it's another follow-up situation. I try to get them right away, definitely within their first like 48 hours of moving in. But even if it's like a month or two later, it's just still following up, just making sure they're happy, making sure they're comfortable, and then throwing in, if you would like to leave me a review, that'd be great. Like, it lets us know how we're doing as a property. It's 100% communication, not only with our managers, but also your coworkers. During COVID, things have been pretty crazy. People have been taking sick leave. It's just making sure that you have everything ready for that apartment to make sure that it's a seller move-in. It is making sure you are prioritizing 3-day walks and 1-day walks. You're making sure that those are getting done. Work orders are getting placed. It's just making sure that on your part, you're doing everything that you can to make sure everything is ready to go for the move-in, because I mean, the prospects are number one. They're like the reason we're all here. We're making sure that as our job as leasing agents, we're the agents, they're the people we're going to be talking to. It's just making sure you have 100% communication with them as well, making sure that all their questions are answered. You're leaving the gift, you're leaving even the review card, just for an example, I don't know, and just making sure that everything that you have done is done, and if you can't get that done, it's just communication with your coworkers, if they can do it for you too. Just making sure you prioritize and put them first, and make sure that your move-in is your number one priority. It's having no fear. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because I've learned so many things I probably would have never learned if I didn't ask. It was making sure you got that 100% customer satisfaction, making sure that they're happy. It's honestly, I have just asked questions and have gotten comfortable with all my coworkers, and making sure that everyone's working as a team. I'm just not afraid to ask questions and make sure that I get everything done. With my to-do list as well, it's just making sure you're organized, you're a team player. Even, I mean, as recently, the past few days, I've had my coworkers, prospects, and who already toured with them, they're coming and asking for me. And I'm not turning them away, because I know I'm not gonna make the commission on it. And working with them, I'm just being a team player, just making sure that I'm doing whatever I can to make sure that everything's running smoothly. It was painting a picture of not only the apartment itself, of also the community. You're also going to want to explain, I mean, at Creekside I always use, we're a smaller property, so it's going to be nice and comfy over here in a gorgeous area facing the Indian Creek Trail, in a stellar location either on 119th or 135th. You're close to shopping, you're close to all these places, and it's getting an idea on even the occupants, if they have kids and stuff. Especially with kids, at Creekside, we were able to tell them we're right across the street from Stoll Park. Crossing, we have a playground on property, and then asking about dogs, because same thing with both, just right across from Stoll, and the dog park on site at Crossing. So it was painting a picture of the property itself, getting them intrigued to want to see it themselves. Like, to the stellar location close to all this shopping and restaurants and so many things to do, especially if they were coming from out of state. Because I mean, like me not knowing the area, you're gonna want to tell the prospects that this is a great spot, you're close to the highways, especially if they are working in Kansas City. Tell them how great it is being in the heart of Johnson County, especially with those properties. They're both in great locations. So it was painting a picture of the property, the location, and of course the apartment as well. You're gonna want to talk the apartment up as much as you can. And getting them to tour after, it was inviting them to accept the virtual tour or possibly doing a no contact tour. It was getting them set up, obviously playing with their situation if they're from out of state. Obviously the virtual tour was definitely the route to go with. And if they were in town, I would just make sure that they knew exactly where our property was located, tell them to swing on by. With the no contact was a little bit more difficult, just because we had to set up the model and then tell them where to go. But I would definitely do as much as I can, respecting that socially distance guidelines. So I would definitely do my part without being in the unit with them. Honestly, trusting your coworkers. I mean, without them, I mean, Creekside being so small, it was just us and the maintenance crew. Getting to know your maintenance crew, that was a big thing too. Yeah. I blessed at both properties. I had wonderful maintenance staff, and it's not being afraid to have to call them and ask questions, doing whatever I could to make sure, and helping them with the COVID questions too. That was just protecting them. Yeah, honestly, the biggest one is just be happy where you are. Your coworkers are gonna turn out to be some of your close friends. So it's just getting out of that comfort zone and pushing yourself to learn new things. I've never done leasing before, so this was all brand new to me. It was like asking the right questions. It was getting close with my manager and my assistant, getting to know them. I was happy. I'm still so happy coming to work every single day. And so just being comfortable, just being happy with everyone you work with, that was the biggest thing. Because I mean, even being new to the state, I was like, oh, I don't know one here. I don't know anything. So it was just getting to know them and getting to know your residents too. Residents aren't always scary and mean. They can be some of the best people you ever met and have some great stories for you. Yep.